house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Canada 8 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Amanda. Amanda, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we really, really do appreciate it. So thank you again, and if you guys want to be house guest of the day like Amanda, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. So, when we left off yesterday, the feeds were down, and there was a lot of suspense because we weren't totally sure why they were down, but Carol was considering self-evicting, so a lot of people were speculating maybe she's leaving and they're explaining it to the house guests or something, because it does sound like she talked to the producers and there was some negotiation happening here, but they must have convinced her to stay because she was still there when the feeds came back on, and there was some hushed talk of Big Brother providing her with food for a keto diet. I do remember her complaining a bit about how people were really selfish with the food and she wasn't getting the foods that she wanted and blah blah blah. So I guess Big Brother's telling her if you stay, we'll make sure that you get all your keto food. Okay, so anyway, I'm glad that she stayed because it would have been a real bummer if another person quit. So, another reminder for what was happening when we left off yesterday, Kyle, Vanessa, and Suzanne tried to convince Chris that Min Lee should be the target this week instead of Micheal. So, Min Lee was telling people to throw the next HOH competition to her and telling Vanessa that Kyle's got to go, but Vanessa's super close to Kyle. So, yeah, Kyle was not happy to hear that, and he was like, well, we need to change this plan. But Chris shut it down. He was like, nope, we need to break up the 4. Micheal is still a target, and that was that. So, when the feeds came back, Chris was talking to Min Lee in the storage room, and he tells her, I'm going to need you to stay composed for the rest of this week. I don't want people coming up to me saying that you're stirring shit up. So, Min Lee promises, no, I'm not doing that, relax, I'm calm, I'm cool, I'm collected. So, she also promises if she wins HOH, she is not going to put him on slop or up on the block. I think she's got bigger fish to fry. Kyle. So, anyway, Chris tells her, don't be throwing Kyle's name around. And she says, I didn't. I think you did. So, he also tells her, enjoy the show tomorrow, meaning the Power Veto Ceremony, because Micheal does not know that he's going up on the block. None of the evictors know that Micheal will be going up on the block. Oh, boy. I don't know what that reaction's going to be like, but woo! Something tells me people are going to be pissed. So, 4 people in particular. So, Min Lee, Vanessa, and Suzanne were having a little game chat in the hot tub. And just a reminder, they formed this tanks alliance with Chris the other day. So Min Lee is checking in with these girls and she wants to make sure that everything is still good. Not really. But anyway, she says the 3 of us especially need to really stick together. The 3 of us girls, because Chris is super tight with Kyle. You know, we're aligned with him in this Tanks Alliance, but he's got his own thing going on with Kyle, and we need to watch out for that. So Min says, you know what? Kyle's close to everyone. She compares him to Dane from last season. That's like the kiss of death being compared to a former winner, right? So Min then shares her plan for next week. She says, I would put up Angie and Maddie if I win HOH because people would be expecting that. It wouldn't be a real surprise. And I guess Maddie would be the target, but if she were to come down with the power of veto, she would put up John Luke. But she says that's not her main target. She's not going after him, per se. So then, Min turns and looks at Suzanne, and she says, you really worry me. Ah! She basically says, you talk to everyone, and that makes me nervous. So Suzanne starts saying, don't worry about it, it's not a big deal, I'm just, checking everything out, but, I'm with you guys. Suzanne has, 50 alliances at this point, and this one is not her top priority. So then, Rianne comes out and breaks up the chat, which sucks, because I wanted to hear more about that. But anyway, a few minutes later, Min Lee and Vanessa were alone in the hot tub, and this is where it starts getting interesting. So, Min Lee says, hey, Kyle is trying to recruit Rianne as another number for him. We need to be on the lookout for that. She feels like she's close to Kyle and she needs to stick with him for now, but in the future, he's going to be looking like a pretty good target to take out. So Minli lets Vanessa know, you are my number one. Don't forget it. So then Vanessa's like, cool, but I have a grievance to air. So she brings up this kind of confusing thing that happened. Apparently, Vanessa told Minli that Kyle is like working with everybody. And Vanessa is now saying that Minli went and told Kyle that she said that, and then it got back to Vanessa. So she's like, you told Kyle that I told you he was playing the entire house. And Minli says, that's not true. Whatever you and I talk about stays between us because we are each other's number one. So Vanessa's like, I think it is true. I think you did tell him that I said that. So things get a little bit heated going back and forth with the two of them. And then Min pulls out the classic, when you watch the season back, you'll see who's lying and who's telling the truth. That's always such a nice thing to say in the moment, and it makes so much sense, but then it's like, she's already going to be home watching this, like, that doesn't work like that. But I see what you're saying, but no. So anyway, Minli also says, I feel like you're being naive if you believe everything Kyle says. He sees that you and I are close, and he wants you closer to him than you are to me. So you can't trust everything that he's saying. So Vanessa's like, yeah, I get that, but I know that you told him I said that because of the way Kyle worded it. Like, there was no way that he just pulled that wording out of his butt. Like, it had to come from somewhere, and it sounded a lot like what we were talking about. So then they kind of shift gears a little bit, and they want to know who the other is truly aligned with. So, unfortunately, the feeds cut before we got the real answers to this, because Minli was talking about her relationship with Nico before he left, and how they're, like, both from Montreal, and blah, blah, blah. And she said something like, most people from Montreal are corrupt. What the F? So, bbcan was like, cut the feeds, we can't have anybody saying stuff like that about Montreal. So then, Carol joins them outside, and Min kind of clears things up about the whole he said, she said, Kyle and Vanessa situation. It seems like Vanessa got more of what she was looking for from Min. Min had more of an explanation of what she did say to Kyle, and it wasn't like, oh, Vanessa thinks that you're working with the whole entire house. So it seemed like she was satisfied with what Min was putting out there. So Vanessa apologizes, they hug. I mean, maybe she was just placating her and she doesn't trust, like, I don't know. It's really hard to tell where Vanessa stands at this point. But they all agree that Kyle is really good at this game. But I would argue he's not because he's already on people's radar, but whatever. So they all agree that Kyle could win this game. And he probably has final two deals with, like, pretty much everyone. So they all start comparing notes on Kyle. Minli says that she feels like Kyle's intimidated by her. Yeah. Carol is pissed because she finds out that Kyle talked crap about her when she was thinking about quitting. He made some sort of comment about wanting to throw her bag, like, over the railing. And he was all sweet to her face, but behind her back, So she wasn't happy to hear that. And Carol says, I will backdoor him the first chance I get. Damn! So Minli says, well, I'd backdoor Kyle next week if I win HOH, but don't say anything. So I don't know at this point who Vanessa is most loyal to. What is she going to do with this information? Because she seems into this as this conversation is happening. It seems like she wants to work with Carol and Minli and maybe some of the other women and take out Kyle. I don't know. But a little bit later, Minli and Kyle were chatting in the Expedia lounge, and this was super awkward. Min was like, how am I supposed to act tomorrow after the ceremony, like when Mike goes up on the block? What happens after that? Like, who's taking the blame for this? How are we going to explain how this happened? Because they're expecting me to go up on the block. So Kyle's like, oh, I don't know. I didn't really think about it. I only talked to Chris like once ever, so... Come on, man. You know what that means? That means that he and Chris already discussed blaming it on Min, which is true. They are planning on blaming this on Min because she went to Chris and was like, oh, you can use my name and say that you were going to put me up. You know, you can say that I came up with that plan. Which, I mean, I think she did bring that to Chris, but, woo, they're going to really put all that on her when Chris wanted to take out Micheal this whole time. Damn. So then they start talking about plans for next week. Both of them are very defensive and very, like, tense. Minley wants assurance from Kyle that they're going to be working together moving forward. And he's like, I can't reassure you every 2 hours. You create your own drama in your own damn head and make up assumptions. I don't have that problem. Yet. I could see Kyle really blowing up down the line for freaking sure. So he says, I know you love to stir the pot and create drama. And she's like, no, what? Yeah, she does. But anyway, they're both saying they're still on board for the plan, obviously, for Micheal to go this week and for them to possibly take out, like, John Luke or Madeline next week. But in reality, they both want each other to go. So it was interesting to see that dynamic. But later, Kyle and Vanessa check in with each other. And I was really curious how this conversation was going to go now that Vanessa had that chat with Carol and Min Lee in the hot tub. So Kyle and Vanessa are talking crap about Min Lee and how paranoid she is. And they're wondering if she's going to have the balls to try and backdoor Kyle if she wins HOH next week. I don't think Vanessa spilled about this specific hot tub conversation, but I think they were just referring to the earlier information that Vanessa first brought to Kyle, saying that Min Lee wanted to go after him. But I don't think she shared the new info, which is pretty interesting. It's really, again, hard to tell where Vanessa actually stands. I'm really curious to see what she's going to be saying in the diary room. But now, for something completely different. Micheal and John Luke were swapping secrets from their real lives. And John Luke was saying, like, oh, I'm actually really smart. I was the valedictorian of my high school. I have a high IQ, blah, blah, blah. And then Micheal reveals that he knew Rianne before the show. What? I mean, they weren't, like, best friends or anything like that. But I guess they've seen each other around and they know some of the same people outside of the house. But if things go the way it's looking like they're going to go this week, it's not going to matter because Micheal is not going to be around. But again, you never know what could happen. So then Micheal and John Luke were talking again later, and they were like, you know what? I think maybe we should add Chris to our army. Oh my god. They're like, yeah, if one of us win HOH next week, we can keep him safe and, like, return the favor, and he'll see that we're serious about working together. Something tells me that they might change their minds about that after the Power Veto ceremony, but we'll see. So today, they should be having the Power Veto ceremony. Pretty much everyone knows that Michael's going to be going up as the replacement nominee, except for Hira, the evictors, and Angie, because, like, I feel like I've barely seen Angie on the feeds, and when she is on the feeds, it's either people talking crap about her or something that's not really been important yet. So if you guys are wondering what's going on with Angie, not much, from what I've seen anyway. But everybody that does know the plan is bracing themselves for the fallout. They're wondering, who's going to take the blame for this? Is it going to be Chris? Is it going to be Min Lee? Is it going to be Kyle? Like, he played a big hand in this. Is he really just going to put this all on Chris? They're going to try and blame it on Min Lee, but we'll see. And some of them are also just feeling really guilty about the brutal nature of this back door. I mean, they made up this whole entire other lie to convince Micheal that he was going to be safe this week. And they're upset because they feel like Michael's a good guy and they hate to do something like this to him, but that's the game, right? So the feeds were down for a while earlier today, and it seemed like maybe it was going to be for the Power Veto ceremony, but it wasn't. So I think they were revealing the winner of the Skip the Dishes Slot Pass vote thing, and I believe Vanessa won that. And she was saying, Kyle's really upset that he didn't win the vote. I guess he thought he was a little more popular with the viewers. Wake up, dude. Come on. So anyway, the feeds have been on and off ever since then. Every time they go down, I'm like, oh, it's Power Veto. And then we see Maddie and Micheal playing pool. Oh, the feeds are off? Is it Veto? No. Oh, they're still playing pool. Okay, cool. So yeah, I don't know. The POV ceremony should be happening at some point today. I'm assuming that Hira will be using the Power Veto on himself, and Chris, as far as I know, is still planning on putting up Micheal. So if you guys want to check back later, I will put the POV ceremony results in the info for the spoiler. But the fallout should be interesting, so hopefully we'll have some good stuff to talk about tomorrow. And let me know what you think about all this in the comments, and until next time, much love.